Now, the artificial intelligence and designer creativity is the presentation will be given by Professor Young-Sik, the professor at Ewha Women's University.
College of Art and Design at Ewha Women's University will give a lecture on the topic AI and the Creativity of Designers. 네, 교수님 준비되시면
Professor, when you're ready, we will start the presentation. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Yes, we can hear you. You can proceed now. Thank you very much. So, in this prominent event, I have been invited. I'm truly honored to be here. So we have different areas of presentations and topics, and we will share different ideas and insights. So I'd like to talk about this, my focus area, which is I'm interested in. And I think going forward with my students, we will think about this part. This is the area that we must think about. So I'm the professor at Industrial Design major at Ewha Women's University. Today, I'd like to talk about this topic. So there are about 5 contents that I would like to talk about. Number 1 is the AI and designers, the background, the creativity, and how we should respond to it. And why we need to talk about this is the background that I want to talk about. I think it is a very important part, and intelligence. What is an intelligence? And we should look into that. And then I think this is the key point, or it's the key issue, it's the creativity. Can AI replace creativity? I think that is the key topic. Number 4 is in order to do that, coming future, we will have to talk about design education. So then the students of design, what should they prepare for? What should they be ready for? And, personally, I don't think that AI will reign forever. Then what will come after AI? So there could be a new paradigm that will come. And then what is the new era that will come after AI? So it's just my personal prediction outcast, and then I'll have a Q&A session. So when we talk about designers' creativity, so I'll talk about why I chose this, the designer's creativity. I'd like to introduce you the background. So I have prepared a few numbers. So last month's data, designers, how close they are linked to AI. And so we're looking at how much the designers are using AI. So these are the numbers, and it's quite interesting. So generally, like 70% of the designers utilize AI in image generation, layout automation, or a design draft. Basically, giving out the first steps. So in this step, about 2/3 of designers are using AI. So this is the result that I've seen. And over 50% utilize Midjourney or DALL-E Sora or Adobe Sensei, they utilized, image generative AIs. And then about 13% they utilize AI throughout the entire workflow. So they utilize AI in the core parts of art, and they utilize it as part of their key capability. Of course, these numbers could change in a month later, and it may change, but surprisingly, a lot of designers are utilizing AI, the generative AI programs. So that's what we can tell from these numbers. Sorry.
예.
Next part is this. So I am teaching design management at a graduate school. Last September, one of my students, of course, this student is also, working as a designer. So, and is a team leader at a fiber company. And currently this student had 5 members, and 4 of them left the company. And the reason why is that most of the works can be replaced by generative AI members. So there is no reason for the company to maintain all of these members. So from the company perspective, they were very negative. So that is why 4 have quit, and this student is the only one doing all the 4 other people's work. So that is why the generative AI's capability and the roles are getting bigger. So it's just an example, but around us, in actuality, we are utilizing AI to replace. So we can see a lot of AIs being utilized in our daily lives. And next slide, I've never made a video. I don't know how to, edit or make a video, but I used a program called Sora, and I've simply made this video using prompts participating in this event. So it just says short video clip, 10-second clip.
앞에 모습.
So this is me.
예, 저희
So my image is used standing on a podium, talking in front of the audience. So I just gave one image of my picture, and I gave prompts like different settings, and I asked the AI program to make it a video of it. So more importantly, so the thing is that I have no idea of how to create video clips. But instead of using the program, I just used an AI tool and create this video within just 10 minutes. So this is what the generative AIs can do. So simply put, it shows why AI is a big threat towards designers, but also an opportunity for designers. So I think it's a good example. Next part.
인공
We talk about AI. We hear the word AI multiple times, or dozens of times. But you may feel indifferent about it. But then if you ask the question, what is intelligence? We need to reflect the true meaning of intelligence. So then, of the many topics that we will discuss today, so what is artificial? What is intelligence? What is designer? And the key point, what is creativity? What does it all mean? So we will talk about each and one of them from different perspectives. So by definition, it says intelligence refers to the totality of mental abilities, including the capacity to learn, understand, reason, solve problems, remember, and learn from experience. All of this combined is intelligence given by the dictionary. So then, we talk about AI, but then what is the opposite of AI? So then we can say natural intelligence.
간단하게 자연지능이나
So then what is natural intelligence? We must know what natural intelligence is to have a better approach towards AI. So I will show you examples. So when we talk about house, I'll talk about house as an example to talk about AI and natural intelligence. So in the primitive times, there's a big playing field and people live there. But as they lived there, there was rain, there's wind. So these people needed somewhere to hide. So they needed a shade, somewhere to rest, to hide from natural disasters and so people gathered. So they built something so that they could run away from wind and rain. But as they did this, around their environment, there were animals, dangerous, wild animals and creatures. And they would run into the house. So one key part became important: security, something that will protect me or my family. We need some things to protect us. So that is why they made their houses even more stronger and safer. So for years, they were protected from, dangerous animals. And they were able to protect themselves and their families. But they had to fix it every year. They had to spend a lot of time to fix and to renew them. So they looked at ways to maintain the durability. So instead of woods and hay, they start to build with rocks so that they can stay there longer. And then these rocks crumble, collapse, and you need to continue to fix them. So then how can we have sustainability? How can we live there even longer? So then it became more sophisticated. So it became like this, a type of residence. And probably they lived in that house with their family. But as they lived their lives, there were inconvenient parts. So they wanted to get rid of the inconvenience. So they started to have stoves and utensils. And one by one, they went for convenience. They start to have needs for convenience. So in order to have convenience, they created items that will give convenience. So eventually, when we talk about intelligence, it was enhanced step by step for survivability, gathering together different capabilities. So that's what I assume. But the thing is, in the beginning, when they were building a hut, and ultimately, in order to maintain a convenient life, you start out with one or two people. So protection, you only needed two people for their intelligence, but for security, durability, sustainability, comfort, and convenience, you needed more intelligence. Intelligence from more people. You required bigger and larger intelligence capability. And I think that is a way for us to understand the definition of intelligence. So then, intelligence is when we talk about this. If I elaborate a little bit more on this, I think it's a bit like a puzzle. We, put puzzles. I know you have, made puzzles before, but you put the piece one by one, and then eventually you get a final product. I think in the beginning, in the same sense, design, there is a person who makes, and there is a person who designs. And when they come together, they wanted to have a well-made design, and they build one by one. And if we expand it, for example, of a house, you design the house, you have the right installations, you have the right creations and constructions, and when you do have time, you have gardening. So this is intelligence. Various types of intelligence are gathered, and now we have the houses, the apartments, these complex living that we live all together. So in reality, if we talk about this in the perspective of intelligence, in order to have this one residence building, you need to have structure, materials, plumbing, electricity, service, security, designing, engineering. You have to have large amounts of a bigger intelligence capability and capacity. And only then you will have an apartment like that we have today, like the houses that we live in. But now, slowly, these intelligences, each pieces of intelligence is being replaced by AI. And we feel threatened, and new types of dangers are coming. So then, ultimately, all of these intelligences are different and various. So combining all of this, we call this multiple intelligence, is what Howard Gardner said. So then humans, have about 8 different types of intelligence, and it comes together. We build a society, we build culture. So of those, there is linguistic intelligence, logical, mathematical, spatial, bodily kinesthetic, musical, and different types of intelligences. So there are designers and artists around us. So of many different types of intelligence, typically artists are more of the spatial intelligence. They would have a stronger intelligence in the spatial feature. And that's the assumption that I have. But the problem is, in this multiple intelligence, completing this multiple intelligence, that is a little bit difficult to imagine, or maybe somewhat afraid of this future. So what it means to have a multiple intelligence is that finally designers' capability, the competence in a way of the function of designers will end. So in my personal opinion, it's a matter of fast or slow. It will come eventually no matter what. That is my perspective. So then let's go to the main point. The main topic, creativity. In this AI age, how should creativity be utilized and what kind of role it should play? And let's talk about this. So by definition, by dictionary, creativity is the ability to create new ideas or solutions, as well as the capability to implement or apply those ideas in reality. So various types of capabilities bringing ideas into the world. This is the dictionary's definition. So I think this will be the key part of today's presentation. So I think we have this misconception. We think that creativity is new idea or something originality. Maybe that's the misconception that we have, because creativity, fresh new ideas are different concepts, but sometimes we, use them for each other. So then how can we have creativity? Because with only ideas, you cannot have creativity, because that was given by the definition. So then what is important as much as idea is applying them into the reality. The power, the capability to do that is important. Because if you don't have this, it's just a new idea, a fresh idea. It will just be an idea. So that what I want to emphasize is that having this idea and reality and having the right balance between these two is the most important part of creativity. So then, in having creativity, there are various, competencies that we must have, and I've divided into two. One is being logic, rational. About 50% is that part. So we need to compare, compute. We need to have logic and rationality. So this is your rationale. But other capabilities, other competencies that we must have to have creativity. So only 15% is logic and rationality. It's only the tip of the iceberg. But in putting out the creativity, the 85% lies underneath. And I say imagination, ideation, intuition, empathy, sympathy, insight, emotion, symbols, and metaphor. So I think these are the very important competencies in putting out, creating, having creativity. So then we need to have the right balance of these competencies. And of course, as mentioned before, there's a logic, rationality, 15%. Well, it could get bigger, 20 and 25%. It is growing. But when the time comes where the rest of the 85% come out, and when it is no longer needed for designers, and that timing where we have multiple intelligence, so we don't know when that will happen. But as of right now, in order to have creativity, I think this is the balance, the numbers that we should have. So then, designers' creativity versus AI creativity. What are the differences? Let's look into them by looking into a few different cases. So I utilize generative AI program. So I asked the AI, I uploaded this aluminum can, and I asked it, tell me how to open this can. So that's the prompt that I put in. So then this generative AI gave me this answer. This is the answer. So it was very predictive, tools, a Swiss Army knife, spoon, or very different types of tools. So basically AI is saying that using these tools, you can open the can. So that this is the AI creativity given by the generative AI program. But for designers, you don't have to use a tool. If you don't have a tool, how do you open it? So we use this item in our daily lives. It's a way to open this. It's very universal. So generative AI did not mention this way. So it's probably AI didn't have enough the learning data, but I think this is the designer's creativity. So the creativity given by AI and creativity given by humans, in other words, designers' creativity, what are they? So AI creativity, the subject is machine, probably the computers. And designers' creativity will be given by, humans. What does it do? AI program focuses on making. And humans, the designer's creativity is more on evaluating. And then the AI creativity is mostly common types are related to technology, the category. But the creativity made by humans, they fall under science. So these technologies must be utilized well, safely, philosophically. So assessing the ethics and all of that is still falls under human creativity. So the AI creativity is focused on the goal is efficiency. So the emphasis is on efficiency, budget, time, cost, and lowering the error rate. I think that's the most common goals of AI creativity. However, the human creativity has the goal on the effectiveness. So they wanna have, they want human creativity to have more effect on culture, society, human value, and relations, and what kind of impact it would have on them. I think that's the goal or the focus of designers' creativity. That's the goal we should have. So each creativity, we're just differentiating different roles. So in a timely manner, when it's appropriate, sometimes we need to go for efficiency. That's why we utilized AI creativity. But when we have to maximize the effect, the human creativity, the designer creativity should be utilized. So I think this has been receiving spotlight. So this is the robot that will replace human labor workers. So these are, humanoid robots that will replace factory workers. So like I said, it is most focused on efficiency. So I think it will be most important in them. But in the future, there could be an AI robot that collaborates with humans. So not only for efficiency, but with the advent of the robots, it will have effects on the society and the culture. So when we consider all of that, we could share humans and AI robots all together. So then next is design education. So in this era of AI, how should we have design education? So some say, related to AI, I talk with other, my colleague professors, and I think they are divided into two different schools of thoughts. So one group say that emphasize that we need to actively apply AI in design education. But on the other hand, some professors say never should AI be utilized in design education. So they are divided into two different groups. So I think they both make sense. Both groups have, reasonable grounds behind their opinions, but if we kind of simple it down, I think this is what I want to say. So from the perspective of an educator, as we go into the era of AI, an educator is like a Sherpa. The Sherpas who guide people in climbing the mountains. So when we say learning, when we have this education, this big mountain of learning, we need to help the students to reach the top, the zenith. So an educator is like a Sherpa, serving as a guide to help students ascend the high mountains of learning. So Sherpas, they start off from the base camp, from the lowest point, and they go all the way to the top of the mountain, so that so they can lead you safely, quickly, responding to different weathers, step by step, helping the students to reach the top. So I think that's the role of the educator in the era of AI. But if you talk about AI, They don't start off from base camp. It's like riding the helicopter and dropping off students at the top. So I think that could be the AI design education. So if you look at it, in the past, design was more focused on object, the aesthetic parts of objects. So we put more value in aesthetics in the past, but going forward, when we talk about design education, it's not just the object, but it's about human experience, designing the human experiences. So then, not just the creativity from the object, but restructuring in a creative manner of the behaviors of humans. So then, as we do that, we can expand it with the help of AI, and different capabilities of designs could be enhanced. So in the past, if you look at here, this just a simple examples. So in the past, in design education, when we utilized AI to have new designs, so this is speaker helped by AI. So aesthetically, functionally, it is very beautiful and very versatile. So you can have it in your living room, and it is very good as part of your living room feature. And another AI design is this. So, we asked for AI design for the off-road cars. So this was, one of the designs given help by AI. So AI design, as you can see, it is very objectively, aesthetic, and it gives great solutions. Or even the package designs. If you just give simple, commands or concepts, it will bring very aesthetic, brand, premium image of the companies. And this is the EXUI app, advised by AI. So it searches the lawyers, the attorneys. So based on different big data, you can utilize this app, and you can have the analysis of different the win rates and the costs of the attorneys. So one person can use AI tool to have these functions. But the problem is it gives out simple answers or easy answers, but then the results of AIs, what's the implication it will have on us? So I put in the prompt like this. So let's say you're newly married, or you have double income family, but there's a baby crying. So the prompt was, how can I clean the house floor at night without waking up a sleeping baby? So I asked for it to create a cleaner that will not wake up the baby. So these are the solutions given by AI. So it's something that you might have seen before. It's a very similar form of a vacuum. So, but instead of that, instead of the vacuum cleaner, we could use these wet mop type of products. So then we could put it on the floor and just wipe it, swipe it, so that it wouldn't wake up the kids. So I think this would be a better solution. But I think this is different from the AI creativity, and this is more closer to the human values. So I asked the students, or I asked the audience,
부탁을 드리고 싶은 것은
So what I do want to ask is that for designer students,
AI가 아니고
instead of an AI that gives answers, that
구하는 것이 아니고
gives final solutions,
AI를 통해서
but through AI, you should ask.
그러한 것이 필요하겠다.
I think it is necessary for us to use AI as more of a asking tool instead of looking for answers.
잘 질문하기 위해서
So to ask well,
바로
I think
영감이라는
we need to have inspiration.
주제로 오늘의 발표 내용들을 조금 마무리 지으려고
So I would like to, sum up the presentation with inspiration. So inspiration refers to a sudden creative or intuitive idea, motivation, or insight.
들고요. 그래서
And
영감이 굉장히 향후에
this inspiration in the future
수 없는 창의력
is something that will not be replaced by AI.
디자이너한테
So that is why going forward, I think
그런 역량
inspiration is an absolute key capability of designers.
의한 디자인 능력이 아닐까.
So, being able to design based on inspirations.
정리를 하겠습니다. 그러면
So I'd like to sum it up.
결국에는
Going
AI
forward,
끝이 있을
eventually there will be an end to AI.
그래서 앞서서 얘기했던 많은
So we talked about
그 이런 영역들이
different, areas of AI will become one.
이제 슈퍼 인텔리전스
When it comes become one, we call it super intelligence.
초지능은 앞서서 얘기했듯이
And as mentioned before,
그 인공지능이
AI
지능으로
will go and become super intelligence. But in order to become super intelligence, there's a major limitation, that is the computing machine. Eventually, no matter what it is a computing machine. So AI is utilizing machine to think like human, to reason, to solve problems. But eventually, from the essence, from its propensity, is that it is a machine. So the relations, satisfaction, self-esteem, the need for achievement will be lacked by machines because machines do not have them. Having affections, being happy,
행복을 추구하거나 아니면 부끄럽거나
or feeling shy,
마음을 추구하는
or having desires will not be, conducted by machines.
그래서 그들이 갖고 있는 강점도 분명히
So of course there are strength, there are advantages of AI, but we should also look into the disadvantages. As mentioned before, relations, caring,
이런
affections, considerations.
부분보다는 훨씬 더
These are the areas where humans are much better at,
갖고 있기 때문에
and we have much bigger
창의력을
competencies.
또한 그 전지능의 시대에 있어서
So, but when it comes to this omnipotent era of AI,
또 중요한
in this era, I think in this field of design, I think relations, caring, affection will be a bigger, more important competencies. So I think this will be the last part. So it's called heartstorming. You may not have heard this before. So brainstorming emphasizes the rational idea generation. So it was what was mentioned before. But on the other side of the brainstorming is heartstorming.
이거는 앞서서 얘기했듯이 행복을 추구하고
It focuses on happiness, sharing emotions,
사회성,
and sentiments,
사회라고 하는 관계를 인지하는
aiming to unite the hearts of the organizational members, becoming one.
개념으로 줄인다면 이것이 하트스토밍이 아닐까.
So I think that's what we can call the heartstorming. So Dr. Rolf Jensen from Denmark has said this. So I think the heartstorming will become one of the more important capabilities of designers. So there's, competencies of brainstorming and also heartstorming, but if you have both, you would have very strong, designer creativity. Last but not least, I think AI designers, I want to compare it as a surfer. So when you're surfing, when you're riding the waves, when you are on the wave, there are joys. It's very fun.
커다란 파도가 밀려올 때
So AI designers, when there's a huge wave,
마치 서퍼와 같이
you need to.
아니면
Are you going to ride the wave like the surfers, or will you be swept away by the tsunami without any preparation, and will you just be vanished?
세계 기로에
So we're at a crossroad of making a decision,
하는 것은 물론
and making this decision depends on individual competencies of the designers. So whether you're being swept away by the tsunami, but rather than that, I think you should be a surfer who rides the waves. I hope for you to have a bigger competencies. I know it was a bit long, but I think I will end my presentation here. Thank you very much.
네, 교수님.
Professor, thank you very much.
디자이너의 창의력과 또 AI
The creativity of AI and the designer's creativity, we can look at it from the perspectives of technology and science. So we need to see the strength of both sides to utilize them in design education. Just like before, we have taken in questions, so we will have a Q&A session. Here's a question. As a student studying design, we need to find our own style and learn how to express it. However, we wonder if individual creativity is meaningful in this situation. And in a world where new creativity is also learned by AI and becomes outdated ideas in a short period of time, I'd like to hear your opinion and advice on how future designers can survive and move forward.
미리 사전 질문지를 받아서요.
So I have received this question.
번째 질문은
So the first question is, we need to have individual creativity. Is it really meaningful?
있어서요. 요거에 대한 저의 견해는
So my personal opinion is that
창의성은 앞서
creativity is, as forementioned, it's not just an idea. We misunderstand it's just a new idea. But creativity is not just a new, fresh idea, but applying that idea into the reality, being able to do that. So in other words, I think it's a hybrid.
그냥 신선한 아이디어만
So
있다?
just having a new idea
있다라고 저는 말할
is not having creativity.
구체적으로 그것을
Specifically, you need to put it out into the reality. But in order to have that, you need to have experiences. So without experience, with just ideas, you cannot have creativity.
굉장히 다양한
So to designers,
저희가
we need to give various different types of experiences. Number two,
디자이너들이 생존 가능할까?
so can human
저는 제가 조사를
designers survive in the future? So I looked into this. So I looked into different occupations that will survive in the future. The jobs, occupations related to creativity are designers. And also, pastors who have, sympathy with other emotions and people. And AI engineers, who will collaborate with AI. And also, technological professions that require high skills, like, chefs. They say, chefs will survive. And also, athletes will survive. So even in the era of AI, they will survive for a long period of time. Artists and designers are the occupations that will take longer for AI to replace. So we need to have the mindset of the surfer that will ride through the storm and the waves. So as long as we do that, we will survive until the later on. I hope that was a good enough answer. Thank you very much.
네, 답변 감사합니다.
Thank you very much, Professor. That was Professor Young-Sik from Ewha Women's University.